This is Vicinity 95.3 FM, Bikejile, Ijesha. The time is 12 o'clock. I am Oluwafunke, Israel, with Global News. First deadline. Nigerian police commences disciplinary action against senior officers over misconduct. Somali intelligence says 33 Al-Shabaab terrorists killed in middle Shabelle operation. U.S. President Donald Trump to extend ceasefire agreement with Iran amid negotiations. Now the news in full. The Nigerian police force has commenced disciplinary proceedings against 167 senior officers of alleged misconduct and breaches of professional standards. The exercise being conducted by the Force Disciplinary Committee at the Force headquarters in Abuja is aimed at reviewing pending cases involving officers from the rank of Assistant Superintendent of Police and above. The Force spokesman, Anthony Placid, said the committee is mandated to thoroughly examine each case in line with established laws and regulations to make appropriate recommendations to the Police Service Commission for necessary action. The Inspector General of Police, Tunji Bilwan Disu, reaffirmed the commitment of the force to discipline, integrity and professionalism, noting that no officer found culpable of misconduct will be shielded from due process. Nigeria and the African Union Commission has intensified efforts to accelerate access to safer water and sanitation across the continent following a high-level engagement with the African Ministers' Council on Water in Abuja. Officer in charge of the African Ministers' Council at the AU Secretariat, Nelson Gomodo, the Minister of Water Resources and Sanitation, Joseph Itserve, received a delegation of the AU led by Asin Yab, Director for Sustainable Environment and Blue Economy, and the African Union Commission, Nelson Gomoda, Officer in charge of the AMCO Secretariat, alongside other senior officers in Abuja. The minister underscored the importance of the visit in strengthening continental collaboration on water governance and policy implementation. Itself stressed that sustained political will remains critical to achieving meaningful progress, as water and sanitation are central to multiple sectors. Yemba commended Nigeria's consistent leadership in the sector and its role as host of the AMCO Secretariat. Away from Nigeria, the Somali National Intelligence and Security Agencies, in coordination with international partners, carried out a series of coordinated operations in the Middle Shabelle region in Somaliland, killing more than 33 Al-Shabaab terrorists. National Intelligence and Security Agencies said several terrorist hideouts were also destroyed during the operations followed intelligence indicating that approximately 90 terrorists had gathered in the area to prepare activities threatening national security. Since last July, Somali forces, backed by the African Union Support and Stabilization Mission in Somalia and other partners, have intensified operations against the group and support of the federal government. The mission's mandate was renewed for another year by the UN Security Council in December under a UK-backed resolution extending authorization through to December. The United States is reportedly in talks to relocate around 1,100 Afghan evacuees currently housed at a former U.S. base in Qatar to the Democratic Republic of Congo, according to advocacy group Afghan Evac. The group, which includes interpreters, former Afghan commandos, and families of U.S.-linked personnel, were evacuated after the 2021 withdrawal from Afghanistan. Afghanistan Evac has criticized the plan, saying that it suspects that Washington seeks to send the former U.S. military allies back to Taliban-ruled Afghanistan, meaning the plan to send them to Congo is an attempt to manufacture a refusal. Congo has some 6.9 million internal displaced persons, according to UN figures, particularly in the east of the country, which has seen fierce fighting between the army and Rwanda-backed M23 rebels. The State Department declined to confirm that Congo was being eyed as a destination, but said the United States was looking at voluntary resettlement from the Aslia camp in Qatar. You are listening to Vicinity 95.3 FM, transmitting live from Mikejile, Ijesha. Global News will continue shortly.
Sports, entertainment, politics, all on your darling station, Vicinity 95.3 FM, Ikejile, Ijesha.
Thanks for staying tuned for news updates and live streaming. Visit our website at vicinity953fm.com.ng. You can also provide us information via mail at vicinitynewsroom@gmail.com or call 070-6108-3107. Now the rest of the news. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan received New Zealand Governor General Cindy Kiro at the presidential complex in Accra to discuss bilateral relations as well as regional and global development. Erdogan noted at the visit, which coincided with the 111th anniversary of the Kanakel battles, a milestone etched deeply in the shared memory of Turkey and New Zealand, was of significant importance. He stated that Turkey aims to further develop relations with New Zealand, particularly in trade as well as in the fields of defense, industry and transportation. Erdogan also expressed satisfaction with New Zealand's principled stance in combating Islamophobia and its support for the Palestinian cause over the two-state solution, both at the United Nations and bilaterally, was commendable. U.S. President Donald Trump said he will extend the ceasefire with Iran to give more time for negotiations until Iran comes up with a proposal to end the conflict. However, he has directed the military to continue the blockade on Iranian cargo ships. Trump's ceasefire extension came hours before its expiration. It also came as the White House said Vice President David Vance would not be going to Pakistan for a second round of peace talks. Iranian officials accused the U.S. of breaching its commitment under a 10-point framework that Tehran set out at the outset of a fragile ceasefire. A bit of sports. The German Football Association has upheld a 2-game ban for Hamburg sport veteran Philipp Oteller after his red card send-off in a clash against Werder Bremen. His club had hoped to have the punishment reduced, with questions raised internally over its severity. After getting a red card, Oteller will miss league fixtures against Hoffenheim on April 25 and Frankfurt on May 2nd. The governing body cited rough play against an opponent as the basis for the sanction, with the support court maintaining its stance despite a review hearing request. 10 Global News, another look at the headlines. The Nigerian police force has commenced disciplinary proceedings against 167 senior officers over alleged misconduct and breaches of professional standards. We told you that the Somali Land National Intelligence and Security Agencies, NISA, in coordination with international partners, carried out a series of coordinated operations in the middle Shabelle region, killing more than 33 Al-Shabaab terrorists. Lastly, you heard U.S. President Donald Trump said he will extend a ceasefire with Iran to give more time for negotiations once Iran comes up with a proposal to end the conflict. However, he has directed the military to continue the blockade on Iranian cargo ships. And just before we go, the last line: the only time you fail is when you fall down and stay down. That was Global News. It was edited by Oyedayo Folonshaw. I am Oluwafunke Israel. Many thanks for listening. Please stay tuned for news nationwide at 6 o'clock. Good afternoon.